Hi everyone! Today we talk about moving to Norway. For this country, we have Azzurra. Hi Azzurra!
Hi Rossella!
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. So, Azzurra is an expat in Norway. She's Italian, living in Oslo, and she also likes to tell us about an expat experience through her Instagram account, Azzurra in Norway, and that you can, of course, have a look and follow. I'm going to leave a link in the description of this video, but I'm going to let Azzurra introduce herself. So, Azzurra, tell us a little bit more.
Yes, thank you for the introduction. Yes, I am, of course, Italian, as you can imagine. I'm from Taranto, so I'm from Puoi. I lived in the UK for 7 years, and I met my boyfriend in Oxford, and he's Norwegian. And that is the reason why, after a few years dating, he basically encouraged me to move to Norway.
Okay.
That's why we moved to Oslo, and we chose a very interesting time because that was, you know, the end of 2020 in the middle of a global pandemic.
Okay, yeah, so there is a lot that you can actually say about this experience, I believe, moving during a pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit exciting as well, you know, a bit terrifying. Everything was a bit harder, of course, but everything also went well at the end.
Yes.
So he got a job here in Oslo last October. Then, of course, he had to work his notice. So then on the 8th of December 2020, we took our flights and we say goodbye to the UK, and now we live here, you know.
Okay, cool. I guess that there are some difference also that you can notice between the two countries or the three countries. If we also consider Italy, you went up north. So
yes, I don't know what's going to be the next step for me. I just North Pole or something. Yes, but yeah, definitely, you're right. They are very different.
Always nice to talk to expats that have several experience. There is a lot that we can still learn, listen to these stories. But for today, we need to move to our topic that again is moving to Norway, and for you is kind of fresh. So I believe you remember all the procedure very well. So let's go with the first step. I believe is registration.
Yes, definitely. It is incredibly important to do that. So I want to stress this because it is absolutely vital that you register within 3 months from arriving in the country, because you basically need to notify the authorities that you intend to live in Norway. And that's especially if you really want to live in Norway for more than 6 months. Of course, you don't have to register if it's just a holiday, if it's less, you know, than 6 months. But in case you want to look for a job, yes, of course, please register, because if the police finds out, it could be a bit of a problem. You don't want to be in trouble. So when it comes to the registration, it's actually very important to understand where you come from, because there is a different process if you are from the European Union or if you are, of course, from outside. If you are from the European Union, is a lot easier. So that is, of course, something that was really good for me as an Italian, because that's the passport that I have. So my experience is very much the experience of a European person, and I really want to stress this. The first step was to get a D-number. A D-number is basically a temporary number. And for example, if you are going to work or run a business, if you own property, if you want to open a bank account, that is the first step.
Okay.
You have to basically get that from the Norwegian tax administration. You have to appointments, you have to show up, you have to bring your identification, because they need to check that you are the person that you claim to be.
Of course.
But the tricky part here is that the D number, it's again just a temporary number, and the next natural step is to get a personnummer, which is the number that says that you are actually a resident of Norway.
Okay.
And that is something that personally I only achieved when I got a job. I could not get that for getting a job, because I had to show up with my contract for my work and house contract, and again they looked at my passport. I needed to fill a form, and I also had to go to the police for another check. So definitely having a job really helps you in Norway for getting that personal number.
How long does it last, a D number, for example? Because it's temporary. There is a deadline, or you can have it forever until you don't find a job, basically.
You can have it for a while, but it's just kind of like a limitation for your life. Because, for example, Norway it's a paperless society. So even when you log in for the doctor or for, you know, like some institution, you need to use what is called a bank ID. Is basically your virtual identity, and you only get that when you have your person number, and it's really vital for even sending payments online with your bank. Really important to have like the full access to the bank as well. Basically with the D number you can do certain things. It's a first step, but it's really limited in the things you can do.
Okay, so you really want to have the personal number then. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
And more or less the procedure for the registration, how long, and to have this temporary number, of course, if you don't have a job yet, how long does it take? It's gonna be done in a few weeks, 1 month, a few days?
I think that when you have all the documentation ready, it's fairly simple, because then you just book an appointment on their website and you just show up. And I think even within 2 weeks, you get something by post. So in my experience, you get, you know, the first letter with the D number, and then you wait a bit, get more documents, and then you can actually book the second appointment, and then you get another letter with the final person number.
Does it have a cost, or is for free?
It's for free.
Let's move to the other step that is always a little bit tricky, but really important to know, how the health system works.
Actually, this is very much linked to the conversation we just had about the person number, because in January I had to go to the doctor, but at the time I was not registered, so I had to go private. You can only access the public health system when you have the final person number, and I only got that in June, so I had to go to a very nice but very expensive private clinic in Oslo. You know, you can imagine Norway is not exactly a country, but then when I got my person number, I could access the doctor. It's called fastlege here, and the state assigned one straight away for me. I received a letter telling me from now on you can go to this doctor, and I've been only once. And the way it works is that at the end of the visit you pay some money, but it's really a fraction of the cost that you would pay in the private system. So it is not completely free. You still need to pay, but in my case, I think I paid something like 40 euros for, you know, like a check. So it was really a good price. there are certain things that you don't get from the public health system. For example, you don't get a dentist. Actually, dentist is so expensive. And of course, as it happens, sometimes you might be unsatisfied with the system. In that case, you kind of have to go to the route of private. But the funny thing is that sometimes it is actually the public health system that directs you towards the private, and the state pays for it.
Okay.
Because Norway is such a small country, and it's not like they have this many specialists, this many hospitals.
Okay.
But if sometimes they don't actually have the space in the public hospital, they send you to the public one, but then it's the government that pays for it.
Okay. So if the public cannot dealing with your case, let's say, they send you to the private, but in that case, of course, it's gonna be the government, since they could not handle it to pay for the bills. Well, this is interesting.
Yeah, but of course, the public doctor needs to say that it's like maybe a life-threatening thing or something.
Yeah, of course, has to be urgent.
If it's like an extra check, you want some extra care that your public doctor doesn't think you should get, then you have to just pay for it, you know. So
yeah, of course, yeah, makes sense. I mean, it's not that they can pay for everything.
No, it's not that great, you know. I don't want to.
It would be nice, but let's say that in general, if you just use the public health system, you don't have to pay monthly a fee. Or no, it just free.
You pay for what, like
for what you get.
Yes, if you book a consultation, you pay for that consultation. If there is a follow-up, if there is an examination, it's very much based on the service you need.
Okay. Yeah. It's kind of fair, I would say. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's good. It's totally different than like in the Netherlands, for example, where we still pay monthly, even if we use nothing. So because it's all kind of private, so you still pay. And we are talking about cost. So let's move to the cost of life. You already say that Norway is not that cheap. It's not a cheap country. And what about apartments, for example? Is it easy or difficult to find apartments? What can be more or less the range of price for, let's say, one-bedroom apartment in Oslo, of course, in your case? You said before, all information we are giving now are based on your experience. Things can be a little bit different, slightly different in other city, or if you come from different country, as you said, European, not European. So everything can be slightly different. That's why I'm gonna add at the description of the video some links, official links, so everyone can check what is the rules, the procedure to start based on their own situation, current situation. But yeah, apartments, what were we saying?
Okay, so the go-to website is Finn.no, and you can get everything from Finn. Houses, cats, in my case, appliances, somebody that picks up your unwanted furniture. That's the place. It's just you know, a place where you can look for things. But the interesting suggestion that I have for everyone is that in the case of me and my boyfriend, we actually posted a profile of ourselves where we were kind of talking about ourselves with photos, like where we come from, what we do for a living. And we actually received a lot of requests of landlords and landladies that were like, oh, you seem like nice people. Do you want to live in my house?
Wow.
This is something I have never done that in the UK. It's very much about the culture of Norway. It's a small country, even though on the map it looks really big, but there are many Norwegians. So trust is very important. So you need to be perceived as somebody that is trustworthy. I have to admit that I had a lot of privilege in this process because he's a Norwegian and he speaks Norwegian, so he could have conversations over the phone with landlords and landladies, just kind of chatting and say, oh, so where are you from? Oh, you're back to Norway. Oh, why did you leave Norway in the first place? Oh, you have a girlfriend. What's her name? What does she do? Okay. And so because of that, I think it was kind of easier to get a step through the door. But unfortunately, from my understanding of other people I know that are not Norwegian, that's a bit harder when you maybe don't speak the language, and maybe it's the first times in Norway, and again, you don't have personnunmer, you don't things are not there yet for you. I was kind of coasting, as it, you know, had everything kind of sorted for himself. So yeah, that it's important to give a realistic view of that.
It's also nice that there is this website that you can also use, you know, like not only to ask for an apartment or anything else, but where people can have a look at who you are. I think it also makes sense. If I own an apartment and I had to allow people living there, also based on payment, of course, but you want to take care of that. You want to be sure that they are like, at least that they appear like good people. So it's a nice thing. And you already say something, and we will go back to language in 1 minute. But first, I want to let's say finish and this conversation about the apartments. What about an average cost for 1-bedroom apartment, for example? What could be?
Okay, so first of all, I live in Oslo, which is incredibly expensive. And also I live in the west part of Oslo, which is also more expensive.
Okay.
So for everyone, I want to say, if you live in Oslo, be very careful, save a little money, go to the east. If you can afford it, maybe go to the west. But so many people I know, even people I work with, they actually live outside Oslo, they commute. So I think that really as something, it's very honest for me to tell you this. So for a 2-bedroom apartment, the rent is like 17,000 krona, which is like 1,700 euros. So maybe 1-bedroom apartment could be, I don't know, 9,000, you know, but of course, give or take, the nicest one, the bad ones, the quality really speaks volume about it. Basically, what I want to say is that with the amount of money that we pay right now, we could rent like a fantastic house, like a proper house with a garden just outside of Oslo, like, you know, 1 hour away. And we could have like bedrooms, car space. You know.
Well, I guess this is something that we experience a bit everywhere. No, I live in Rotterdam. It's the same thing. If I move, outside the city, with the amount of money I paid, well, to buy these apartments, but also when I was renting, well, I could have a way bigger apartment or house indeed. But then it depends on other things, of course, choice that we do. But okay, we have an idea more or less of how much it costs. And let's go to the last, let's say, point for this chat that we are having. Language. You say that it can be important if, for example, you are dealing with landlord, landladies in order to get an apartment. How important in general is for work or to have like a proper social life, learning the language, the local language?
Okay, so this is actually for me the hardest topic to talk about because I came with the expectation that I was going to learn so fast and be amazing. Also because when I was younger, I studied foreign languages in university. So I have a degree in English and Chinese Mandarin. I was really like, yes, sure, I'm gonna do it. But then the reality is very different because I work full time and sometimes I'm really tired. And I didn't sign up for a course. So actually, you know, I read children books, you know, that's what I do.
Yes.
I do that, and I just kind of like flick through the pages, trying to, you know, understand the words, you know, writing on top. But yeah, it's really, I'm not doing it in a very formal way, but it shows. I think that if you really want to tackle that properly, you have to do courses, really put effort, put the hours in. Norwegian is a weird mix between like English and kind of German in a way.
Okay.
Germanic language.
Yes.
If you speak English, to be fair, it helps a lot. It really does.
Okay.
And because there are many similarities. The pronunciation in Oslo is dramatically different from the pronunciation you can have in other parts of the country. So there is a tendency that if you do learn like the NRK is like the national TV here, you know, it might be very different from what people speak in Trondheim up north.
Yeah, well,
you know, it's the kind of the same everywhere. So and also there are different writing, but
it just sounds very difficult.
Yeah, it's like basically they are just two different writing systems, but they're not different languages. It's the same language with the same grammar. It's just that one is more like the traditional standardized one, but the Nynorsk is more like something that people are trying to push because they think that it's more real. And Norway has been always under the domination of other countries. It's been under Sweden, it's been under Denmark. So it feels like Norway is trying to be independent.
Okay. So it's more a symbol, basically, this this different writing system.
So sometimes I actually watch TV and I'm reading the subtitles and I'm like, why can't I understand anything? Because people tend to learn bokmål, which is like the standard Norwegian. And then, oh no, it's Nynorsk. And I'm like, why? Oh, because they need a quota on national TV because it's for the preservation of cultural heritage.
Okay. Well, it's an interesting story. It sounds very difficult, but still interesting as well. I mean, a lot of this culture that we probably need to know, need to learn that we, of course, out of the country, you never know these things. So it's very nice that you are telling us. But as you say, I mean, you don't proper speak the language yet, but you still got a job. I believe you still have your social life with friends. So English anyway is enough, at least to start.
It depends on the work you're looking for. And I'm very fortunate that my background is in business. So I work in sales and I've done it for many years, and I work for a lot of international companies. So I have a commercial role. So language is actually really important for me. Otherwise I can't do anything. And of course, living in the UK really helped as well, quite a lot in that department. So when I applied for jobs in Norway, I had a lot of rejection because some jobs would look for Norwegian only, maybe for Norwegian customers only. But you know, after digging and fighting and trying, I found a startup that is very international and everybody speaks English. Everybody's pretty much an immigrant too. So you know, I speak English all the time. Not many Norwegian friends, and you know, having to find a time to make that happen, it's the big challenge.
It takes time to also to have real relationship with locals. Takes time, but it will happen eventually. So
they do speak English though. I mean, Norwegians speak English very, very well. I mean, it's very to find somebody, especially a young person that doesn't speak English. And in Oslo, for example, I just go around and sometimes they just automatically approach me in English. Like even if I go to a shop, they just say automatically stuff in English. Okay, it's very obvious I don't speak Norwegian.
Or at least that you are not from there, yes.
I don't look it, so they just go ahead with that.
Yeah.
You have to force yourself to speak the language,
Yes. Yeah, I do sometimes. When they ask me if I want to speak English instead of Dutch, I say, no, Dutch, let's try. And I say it in Dutch, of course, in order, to make, because of course I don't look Dutch either. So it's kind of obvious that I'm not from here, but it doesn't mean that I don't speak the language. So I try always to approach people in their own language and try to make them speak to me in their language. It's also a way to learn. You do mistakes, but of course it's their language, so they can understand you anyway. If someone speak to you in broken Italian, you understand anyway. It's your language, so it's easy. Yeah. Well, Azzurra, you gave us a lot of information. It was really, really nice. So thank you. And I invite again everyone that is watching this video to also have a look at your profile, where you talk a little bit about your expat experience, your expat life in Norway. Is really interesting. And I believe that if anybody wants to have more info about it, just can drop a message to you, so in order to have some information or guidelines, so where to find them. And I hope to talk to you soon. Thank you, and thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.